We took a B2B financial software company and turned $3,300 in ad spend into $60,000 in total revenue. That's an 18x ROI. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly how we did it, step by step. We're gonna cover how we identified the right ICP, the exact cold traffic offer we built, the ad formats we used across both the static and video ads, the landing page, and the sales process on the back end. So you're gonna get every piece of the system that actually made this work. Now, my name is Alessandro Cutri. I'm the founder and CEO of Textwasive, where we've helped 50 plus B2B SaaS, AI, and tech companies generate millions in revenue and in pipeline through paid ads. So if you want to see the exact system behind that result, then let's get into it. So the first thing that we did before we ran and even produced ads or even started the copy was understand what their ideal client profile was, right? And in this case, we were targeting finance leaders. More specifically, we were targeting both CFOs and then FP&A leaders, right? So this was our ideal client profile. And we wanted the company size to be around 50 million plus. And the reason is that when I was talking with our client, I realized that at that specific moment of being around 50 million is where their finances really start to get strained, and our product actually becomes a lot more valuable to them at that size. Now, doesn't mean that we can't work with smaller companies. We definitely can, but we just want to call out these types of companies in our ads itself. So once we understood the ICP, then we want to understand what is the ICP going through so that we can actually write good ad copy for them. So the things that we're going to list out are pain points, and we're going to list out desires, then we're going to list out what are called circumstances and situations. Now, obviously there's slightly different pain points between CFOs and FP&A leaders because they're slightly different job titles, but they can be combined. And so what we want to do is figure out kind of pain points that are both relative to both the finance leaders in an organization that's doing above $50 million in revenue. So one of the big pain points that a lot of these finance departments were having was that their FP&A department leaders or their FP&A analysts were staying late, having to finish reports, right? So they were working overtime and they were really stressed out having to finish reporting because their current functionality and tools that they were using weren't actually beneficial to helping them speed up their reporting. And so we knew that that was a big pain point, and was a consequence of this is that they were getting late reports. They were getting people that, were overworked, and just the overall morale of the team wasn't there when, you're having to work all these hours. And so that was a pain point that we discovered from just asking our clients different questions and really looking at some sales calls recordings that we were able to see exactly how the department leaders were describing their problem. So that's super important. So a desire that they wanted was just, sped up reporting so they can get, clean reports with no errors, right? Like that's really what they want. Now there's obviously more desires on top of this, but this is just an example that I want to give to you guys. So that was another desire that they had, and a circumstance, a situation. Now these can also be like false beliefs, is that the FP&A tools that they use would have to take them off Excel. And why this is important is because what we're selling is basically some form of an FP&A tool. And so the biggest objection that they would typically get before the actual sales call was the fact that a lot of these people and department leaders think that moving an FP&A tool or using an FP&A platform is going to require a lot of work and time and effort on their team to be able to learn, and then no one's going to use it. And so there's going to be low user adoption across the board. And so for this specifically, we want to be able to call out in the ad and in the actual offer that we create, and that they could still use our Excel and also leverage our platform so they can kind of get the best of both worlds. And so this is basically the ICP work that we'll do beforehand. Now we'll create way more pain points, way more desires and circumstance situations. I just want to show you a quick example of what we did with them specifically. Now, after we've had all of those listed out, we are now going to create what's called our cold traffic offer. And that's what we did for them. Cold traffic offer is going to have typically 4 elements. The first element is focusing on the outcome that they actually want and the desire. The next outcome is, or the next part is having a time frame attached to when they can get that outcome. The next part is having a risk reversal of some sorts. And the next part is having some form of unique mechanism. So being different and standing out. If you can have all 4 of these elements, you have a cold traffic offer that is going to rip on cold traffic. Let me quickly write out what I believe their cold traffic offer was just from the top of my head. Hey, real quick, if you're watching this and you're a SaaS company that's sitting on a product that actually gets results, but your pipeline is still inconsistent, well, we can fix that. We go deep on your ICP, we build your offer, the creative, the landing page, the whole system, and we guarantee to get your ads profitable within 90 days. We literally refund you. So there's a link below to book a call with me if you want us to take a look at your situation. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So cold traffic offer was some version of this, right? So we'll speed up your financial reporting by 10x using our Excel-friendly FP&A cloud platform. And we also had a guarantee in here that if we didn't speed up their their financial reporting by 10x, that we'd actually give them some form of a refund. That is their cold traffic offer that we created. And as you can see, this is very powerful. It gets people to stop their scroll, and it actually stands out when you're marketing on cold traffic. After we built their cold traffic offer, then we went into building out the ads. So you see how we didn't touch the ads first. We made sure that we had the cold traffic offer first. We made sure that we understood their ICP, and now we're building out the ads. A lot of people go about this the wrong way. When we're building out the ads, we're going to test both statics and we're going to test video ads. The static and video ads, they're going to follow similar formats across the board. And the reason being is that these are formats have just been proven for us, and we just always recycle them. But we're going to obviously vary the way that we present the information with a video ad, whether that be a selfie style, whether that be a green screen, whether that be a talking head video, or with static, we'll vary the formats with whether that be a tweet ad, some form of an AI image ad, an AR cartoon ad. So we have all these different formats that we use, but they all follow this similar framework, which is an ICP call out, then an offer statement, then proof, and a CTA. Or they follow this format: ICP call out, pain point hook, proof, CTA, right? So this is the format that we're using across the board for these types of ads, because we know, first of all, that these work across all of our accounts, and it's just the most easy to digest our offer and our messaging. It makes things super simple when you can just use formats like this. So these are the exact formats that we use. We created different formats, like I said, like selfie style. We also created, different ones like AI cartoon ads. I believe the best one performer for this one was a AR cartoon ad as well. So that's what we did for the ads specifically. Now, after they saw the ads, they are going to go to the landing page. Now you have to make sure that the landing page has certain elements in order to make sure that you're getting a good conversion. So what you're typically looking for in terms of metrics, just to put that out there, is like an application rate of about 10%, meaning that 10% of the people that actually land on your landing page should convert into a booked call. So the elements that you need in order to achieve that is you need a main headline. Now the main headline is super important. It's the first thing that people read when they click on your landing page, and you want to make sure that it calls them out and is actually what they want. So that you want your cold traffic offer to kind of be the main headline. And you want a subheadline. In that subheadline, you want really just proof and talking about how you can help them achieve that main outcome and desire that they want. And then at the top of that main headline, you also want an ICP call out. Forgot to say that. You just basically want to say who this is for and who this isn't for. And then what we do is we also have a VSL, which is like a product video / talking more in depth about what they're going through and their situation and their circumstances. So we had a VSL, and then we had at the bottom of that VSL a CTA button. And then after the CTA button, we have a false solution section, which is basically what they maybe have tried in the past or some other solutions that are similar to our product, but why we're positioning it as why our solution is superior to all those. Then we have a process overview, which basically tells them exactly how we get them the results. Then we have a social proof section where we're just blasting a whole bunch of social proof. Then we have a FAQ section. And after that, we have another CTA down at the bottom. Now you can change up the style in terms of how you actually present this information. So you can have, the process overview at the top, a false solution down at the bottom, social proof at the top. FAQ section, typically you want that to stay at the bottom with the CTA. So that's probably the only piece of information that you want there. But in terms of the actual landing page, this was the exact landing page format that they followed and what we used for them specifically. So after the landing page and someone clicks on that CTA button, we had a application pull up. Now this application is super important for two reasons. First of all, it trains Meta on exactly who you want to speak to by training the pixel. And it also gives you guys only qualified leads that are hopping on the calendar. And so you're not having to waste your time with a whole bunch of unqualified leads. So on this, we're typically asking a ICP qualifying question. So for us, it was, are you an FP&A leader at a company above $50 million? Now, if they're not, we actually will allow some people to book, but we ask a budgeting question. So let's say they're not, we'll ask a budgeting question. Okay, well, do you have X amount available to invest into an FP&A software? So if they're below, like say they're 10 to 50, we still let those people in, but then we just ask a budgeting question. So what this allows us to do is we send these people to a thank you page. And on that thank you page, we have a pixel, which then gets the data from the people that book, and it sends it all the way back to Facebook. And it says, hey, Facebook, find me more people like this qualified person. So that's why it's super important with pixel conditioning to make sure that you're getting only the right people to book, and you have the pixel on the thank you page so that you're sending that data back to Facebook and say, hey, find me more people like this person specifically. On the thank you page, we want that to do a couple of things because it's super important in making sure that you're nurturing the lead the right way. And this is how we had it set up for our client, which was like this. So you have a thank you page, and then on that thank you page, you have what are called breakout videos that talk about exactly some of the most commonly asked questions that you get on sales calls. So this is basically like your FAQ page that builds trust with your prospects before they actually show up to the call. So you want questions like, how much does this cost? What if it doesn't work? Who have you done this for? Whatever questions that you typically get on sales calls, you want to break them out into this section. And so you can allow prospects to actually digest information prior to the sales call. What this does helps helps build trust with them, and it gets people to actually recognize you as a brand that is, first of all, premium, because not a lot of people are actually doing this stuff. And secondly, that is a brand that they can trust. So this FAQ section, it's really gonna help your close rate, and something that we did with our client that really helped them as well. And then on top of the FAQ section, we're gonna have a 6-step email sequence. So this email sequence is going to do the same thing as the FAQ section, but it's gonna be broken out. Like say, we have 6 emails that talk about a video that we made individually, so they can also consume that as well as pointing them back to the FAQ video section. So we want them to consume this part of the call. So we have that 6-step email sequence that's automated, that goes in the background, kind of talking more about the situation, pointing them back to watch the videos so that they consume that before the call itself. After the pre-call sequence, we're then going to do a 2-step sales process. Now, I typically recommend this in most cases, depending on your sales cycles and in most SaaS products, which is just basically a discovery/demo, right? Now, you can break this out into either a 1-call close if you don't have a super long sales cycle, or you can obviously break this out into a 2-call close in the sense of, you do a discovery and then you do the demo on the next pitch. Now, obviously, it's not going to always follow 1 or 2-call close. You may have more calls that are involved in terms of bringing in other decision makers, or if you're going after big enterprise companies, obviously it's going to be a multi-call process. But for most of you watching, if you're targeting the SMB market, you really can do a 2 or 1-call close, depending on exactly if you are getting the right decision makers on that first call with you. So that is how we broke out the sales process. That's how they're able to close 2 deals right away off of just $300 to $300 in ad spend. So that's basically the full process. Okay, so let's recap what we just covered. This is exactly how we turn $3,300 in ad spend into $60,000 for a B2B financial software company. So it started with getting crystal clear on the ICP, which was CFOs, finance leaders, FP&A heads, and understanding their exact circumstances, what their pain points were, and what they actually wanted. So from there, we built a cold traffic offer that spoke directly to them. And then we tested static and video ads using the same proven format across the board. And lastly, we paired that with a landing page that was designed to convert and a sales process on the back end. And that's the full system. But knowing the framework is one thing. Actually building it out for your specific product, your ICP, and your market, that's a whole different story. So if you're a B2B SaaS company and you want our team to come in and build this for you, there's a link below to book a call, look at your current situation, and show you exactly what it would take to get results like this. And we even guarantee to get your ads profitable within 90 days, or we give you a refund. Other than that, make sure to like the video, drop a comment below letting me know which part of the system that you're missing right now, and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.